Hey folks, I'm Glenn.
And I'm Nita.
And we are Cubby Van Life. We're full-time van lifers, and for the past 6 months, we've also been the official Harvest Host Ale Blazers, which means we've been traveling around visiting and reviewing breweries and distilleries across North America.
We started in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We drove across the Midwest, went through Bourbon country, his favorite place.
Absolutely.
Then we went to Maine. Right now, we're on Northern Ontario, hence the Choux. And we've seen some pretty cool stuff and met some really amazing people. So far, we visited over 30 Harvest Host locations. And in this video, we're going to show you some of our favorite experiences of the trip. But Harvest Host isn't just about libations. So we'll also clue you in and some of the best food, entertainment, dog-friendly locations, and beautiful boondocking spots.
And finally, we'll show you our favorite experience of the entire trip. And believe me, that's something you're not going to want to miss. Very unique, something you can only get with Harvest Host. And as always, if there's any part of the video that you just want to skip over, you can use the chapter links in the description below to just jump ahead. You ready?
Let's go.
So we're going to start with some of the amazing tours and tastings that we had on this trip. And we'll begin with Lively Beer Works in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And Nick Williams gave us a tour of their brewing facility, but the highlight really was tasting
this fresh, light lager.
What Nick said was, this is beer-flavored beer. And he clued us in on something that I didn't know, that most brewers test their talent by tasting their light lager because there's so few ingredients in it, it's so simple that there's nothing to hide behind as there is with, say, a Imperial Stout or an IPA or something like that.
A maple butter tart stout?
Nick was particularly proud of their light lager, and I have to say, I was super impressed and it was quite delicious.
Very drinkable.
Next, we went to the Wonder Inn at Wonderfolk Spirits in Guthrie, Oklahoma, where Donnie and Jeff gave us a great tour of their distillery, their rickhouse. We got to see, smell, and taste the spirits in the rickhouse, and then we headed back to the bar for some delicious cocktails. But we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes.
Another one of our favorites was Woodhat Distilling in New Florence, Missouri. That's where I was born.
And Woodhat is run by Gary Heingarten, I believe his name is, and what a special character. We're going to talk about him a little bit more in a moment. He makes these hats.
We fell in love with him.
But he gave us a great tour of his micro distilling operation where he's the only distiller there. And his rickhouse was actually in a bunch of storage containers out back.
Yeah.
He's a highly experienced agronomist who grows heritage corns, blue corns, red corns, yellow corns.
We've selected different corns that have really unique tastes.
And he educated us on the different kinds of corns he grows.
So drinking blue corn whiskey is healthier than...
Well, no, we can't go that far.
And then we took the State Line Whiskey Trail in Kentucky and Tennessee. And all of those distilleries were amazing.
Yeah, starting with Casey Jones Distilling in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, where Ross gave us the tour. And then we moved on to MB Roland in Pembroke, Kentucky, where Olivia gave us an amazing tour and tasting. They had so many products there, it was just fabulous. Okay folks, this is literally like being a kid in a candy store.
And how about Old Glory in Clarksville, Tennessee, where Chance, it was his first day, he gave us an incredible tour.
Yeah, it taught us all about Tennessee whiskey, and we got to taste their fabulous wares also. And we're going to come back to those in a minute. But next, we're going to talk about some of our favorite breweries of the trip, beginning with
Sierra Blanca in Moriarty, New Mexico.
Oh yeah, and some of my favorites there were their peanut butter porter, and one of my all-time favorites of the entire trip, the barrel-aged whiskey stout. The beers here are excellent, really good brewery.
And another one is Angry Scotsman Brewing, also in Oklahoma City.
And Angry Scotsman makes some incredible Belgians and British styles like Scotch Ale, Old Ale, and ESB. But my absolute favorite there was the barley wine. This is the schnitzel. Very few people make barley wine. Angry Scotsman does a great job. My God, that's a serious barley wine. You guys love barley wine. The Angry Scotsman's the place to come.
And another favorite was Big Muddy Brewing in Murfreesboro, Illinois.
Yeah, they have a really creative beer list there. But my favorite was the excellent Hibernation Winter Ale. Oh yeah, it's barrel aged all right. That's absolutely wonderful. This is the winner so far, ladies and gentlemen. Chuck does a great job there. And for the most amazing can selection, the award has to go to Sawdust City Brewing in Gravenhurst, Ontario. They have things like horchata white milk stout, passion fruit guava kettle sour, sumac mint summer sour, and two of my favorites were the maple butter tart ale. Wow, look at that collar, look at that head. That's a beautiful thing. And the chocolate raspberry cookie stout.
That's pretty creative.
I had to get a bunch of those to go.
And another one of our favorites was Northwoods Brewing in Northwood, New Hampshire.
All of their beers were fabulous. This, my friends, is the barrel-aged Belgian Tripel at 9.9%. And look at that beautiful copper color. Oh, that looks so delicious. If you like Belgian beers, this place is incredible. This, my friends, might be my favorite. It's certainly in the top 5 of my favorite beers in America right now. This is just absolutely incredible. This is called Chocolate Coffee Thunder, and watch this. Oh yes, yes, that, my friends, is one of the best beers in America. This place has incredible beer. As far as spirits go, some of my personal favorites were the Marine Strength Gin from Axe Handle in Pennington Gap, Virginia. And it's called Marine Strength because Navy Strength Gin, I believe, is 114 proof, something like that. Marine Strength Gin is 115. It was great stuff.
A little stronger.
And speaking of gin, another one of my favorite spirits of the entire trip was the barrel-aged gin from Old Glory in Clarksville, Tennessee. Wow, I bought a bottle of this and I wish I had bought a case of it because I don't know when I'll ever see it again. It was my favorite gin probably that I have ever had. Also really enjoyed their Tennessee whiskey, folks. Okay, I might be a convert to Tennessee whiskey. It was the best Tennessee whiskey of the entire trip too. Of course, it was the only Tennessee whiskey that we had. But we also learned the difference from Chance, our tour guide, between Tennessee whiskey and other types of whiskey.
What makes a Tennessee whiskey are two things. It has to be made A, in Tennessee, cannot be made in any other state, and B, it has to be filtered through a sugar maple charcoal filter. If it's not put through that sugar maple charcoal filter, then it is no longer a Tennessee whiskey.
And we have to include Wanderfolk Spirits in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
And they have a whole line of bourbons there that they call Same Old Moses, but nothing beats the Ruby Port barrel finished bourbon. Again, one of my favorites of the entire trip. I keep saying that one. They're all my favorites, they're all good. But the pièce de résistance, Gary Heingarten's Woodhat Spirits in Missouri. Everything that Gary does is great there, especially the bourbons and whiskeys, all of which are made with corn that Gary grows himself. He makes things like Old Blue, single barrel corn whiskey made with blue corn, Twin Timbers, which is aged in pecan and oak barrels, and the amazing Rubenesque, which is one of the best bourbons in all of America.
People ask me what I drink this with. I said, well, 2 things, a recliner and a remote control.
I could get a job here. I might get one.
It's a deal.
And Gary also makes some creative cordials. He makes persimmon, berry, walnut.
Yeah, which is known in Italy as nocino, but because it's made with American walnuts here in America, it's just called walnut liqueur. I asked Gary where he got his walnuts from, and he said, oh, I have a big walnut tree in my yard, and also my neighbors give some to me too. It was incredible.
In all honesty, folks, this is the most amazing distillery I've been to in America yet.
And now let's talk about cocktails.
Yep, one of my favorite subjects.
One of his favorites. So we went to Brown Barn Farms in Orange County Distillery, and they had this amazing bartending team of Izzy in Nigeria.
Yeah, they did, and they made some incredible cocktails there. They have great spirits, creative cocktails, and they are located in a really beautiful setting. Orange County Distillery.
It is totally worth the trip.
And we got to keep going back to Guthrie, Oklahoma. Wow. The Wander Inn, where Donnie mixed up some incredible cocktails like this Old Fashioned, made with Same Old Moses double barrel port bourbon. You gotta come to the Wander Inn. Really fantastic place. Highly recommend it.
Oh, and what about the drink you had at Axe Handle?
Oh yeah, that's right. Gabriel made me something really special. A raspberry bourbon made with fresh muddled raspberries, lemon juice, simple syrup, and 93 proof Axe Handle straight bourbon whiskey. It really was something special.
And I want to say that all the tour guides were excellent. They all did a great job.
Yes, they did. And finally, I guess I was just on a gin kick here because that barrel-aged gin from Old Glory made a pretty damn good aged gin fashioned with artisanal ice.
Yep.
Artisanal ice, it's a thing. Who knew?
Yeah. And again, it's not all about drinking. Let's talk about some of the great food that we had.
Yeah, beginning with Artisanal Brewing in Sarasota Springs, New York. The barbecued pork panini. Oh man, it's fabulous. Highly recommended. And back to Sawdust City Brewing in Ontario. Duck wings.
They were delicious.
Oh my God.
Chicken
oh my God.
wings, step aside.
We got like 6 duck wings. We should have gotten 18.
We should have. We should have. And back to one of our favorites, we have Northwoods Brewing, and they make, in addition to beer, incredible French pastries.
Yeah, so Northwoods Brewing is a bakery and a brew house in one. I already told you that they make some of my favorite beers, but their donuts were off the hook. Now, I am passionate.
I wouldn't even call them donuts.
I am passionate about donuts, and I wouldn't call them donuts either because they're made with choux pastry. If you know what choux pastry is, very French. I ate 1, then 2, then 3, then I got some for the morning. I think I ate a half a dozen boondocked out in their parking lot there.
And these, my friends, as good as the beer is here, wow, these little crawlers are delicious. And I want to show you the inside of this thing because it is not a donut. That is choux pastry. And they are so light and fluffy. Oh. Northwoods, you have to come here, have the beer, have the pastries. Oh, it's fabulous.
And we also love the pizza at Funky Bow Brewing in Lyman, Maine.
Wow. They had a brick oven right on site making it, and I just got a plain pepperoni pizza, and wow, delicious.
It was really good.
But our favorite food of the entire trip, we're gonna come back to because it is our favorite experience. Again, stick around to the end and you're gonna find out. And of course, most of these breweries have live entertainment at least 1 or 2 nights a week. Unfortunately, most of the time we were traveling, we weren't there on the night that they had entertainment. And a good example of that is Red Barn Brewing in Blenheim, Ontario. I bring them up because they told me that just a few days before we got there, they actually had 6,000 people on site. And they do this regularly. They have a big festival every year, and they have really well-known Canadian acts come on a regular basis there. So if you can get there on a night when they have entertainment, highly recommend Red Barn. But we also enjoyed a solo acoustic singer who was really good. I wish I'd gotten her name, at New Sarum Brewing in Salisbury, North Carolina.
Oh, she was really good.
Yeah.
She was very good.
We saw a great duo, a guy on guitar and a guy on violin who was playing a really interesting set at Happy Bassett Brewing in Topeka, Kansas. We're going to come back to Happy Bassett in a minute.
And for a really local experience, you should catch open mic night at Longtooth Brewing Company in Sterling, Ontario. They had guitar players, singers, they had fiddlers, and they even had a local comedian.
Turns out, no, it was just a legit book on how to get divorced.
It was pretty enjoyable.
It was really fun.
But the ultimate entertainment experience we had during this trip was...
That would be Funky Bow Brewing.
Yeah, we're back to Funky Bow again.
They had the great pizza.
But they had a great band named Electric Mist, and they did some really funky, cool covers that I had never heard anybody doing before. And Charlie even got to go on stage and join the band.
Charlie joined the band.
It was really fun.
It was very cute. But also, I'd like to do a shout out for Axe Handle because on weekends they have live bluegrass jams. And if you get there on a weekend, you're going to be just incredibly impressed by these local musicians.
I laid down to sleep, I woke up, there were shackles on my feet. It takes worried man to sing worried song. It takes worried
And we travel with our dog, Charlie, so we don't go anywhere that we can't take him along. And the great thing about all these harvest toasts is 99% of them are dog friendly. You can
To
bring
some
your
degree.
dog, but some are more dog friendly than others. And one of our favorites was Happy Bassett Brewing in Topeka, Kansas, where they have an enclosed dog area outside, but the dogs are also allowed inside the brewery. And Charlie had just as good a time as we did there.
They're just roaming off leash.
But what was the ultimate dog friendly experience?
Once again, Funky Bow. And Funky Bow has a strict no-leash policy, and the dogs just roam around, everyone gets along. It was like being in dog heaven for me.
It really was. Again, a big shout out to Funky Bow, one of our favorite experiences of the whole trip. But you know, when you're done eating and drinking and enjoying entertainment, you got to go to sleep. And here's where the real value of Harvest Toast comes in, because all of these places you can boondock right on the premises. And some of our favorite boondocking experiences, because they were just absolutely beautiful, begins with MB Roland, once again in Kentucky. It used to be an Amish dairy farm, and it was just so pretty
Picturesque.
and bucolic, I would say.
You can't even have enough superlatives for this place.
No, you can't. And for that matter, also Casey Jones, practically around the corner from MB Roland, also part of the State Line Whiskey Tour.
And then Axe Handle. It's in the Appalachian Mountains, and it is just beautiful.
Yeah, so there you go. 3 really great boondocking experiences. But one of our favorite places of the trip also for beauty that was neither a brewery or distillery, and that was...
Oh yeah, Arlington Farm. And that's in Cape Charles, Virginia.
So you're right on a real working farm. There are chickens, there are goats everywhere. We boondocked right outside the goat barn. And Charlie made a really good friend. Their dog, Buddy, loves all dogs. So does Charlie. But our favorite boondocking experience of the entire trip, it's also our favorite experience. It's going to be at the end of the video. Stay tuned. But you know, without great people, none of these experiences would mean anything. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's the people that make the experience.
We've met some really great people.
Yeah, we really did. Some of our favorites were Ross, who gave us that great tour and tasting at Casey Jones.
Don't be shy, try the rye.
And then we have Chris from Fordham and Dominion in Dover, Delaware.
Oh yeah, Chris was an awesome beer tender, and we played bingo there.
And we won.
Yeah, and we won some free beer, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Chris was really cool. We got up in the morning and we opened our door, and we actually had a care package that he left outside the door.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was really a lot of fun. How about Chad at Anthem Brewing in Oklahoma City? This is Chad, everyone.
Oh, Chad was special.
Chad even entertained us.
I know it's late, I know you're weary, and I know your plans don't include me.
He's a backup singer for Shania Twain.
A few others that we really enjoyed were Donnie and Jeff, once again at Wonder Folks in Guthrie, Oklahoma, where they gave us that amazing tour and tasting. Big shout out to them. Thank you, because they gave us the tour on the day that they weren't even open.
That's right. And we have to go back to Woodhat with Gary.
My name's Gary Heingardner.
If you get a chance to meet Gary, you will never forget it, because he's smart. He makes these hats.
This actual hat is made of white oak.
Intelligent, witty, super talented.
Funny, and he speaks a couple Indian dialects.
Nama Pasha Canada, Yakandra, Namurnali, Ade Pasha, Yelaru, Ade Yelada Matarataru.
You won't want to leave there, because he is fabulous. And I would say Gary is tied for the top spot of our favorite people that we have met on this entire Harvest Toast tour. Tie with the next 2 people, which brings us to our favorite experience of the entire trip.
This is our favorite.
Located on the beautiful banks of the Chesapeake Bay in Westover, Maryland, our favorite experience of the trip took place at Roger Dye's Seafood. And it's located on this peninsula where every building is a crab shack. And when I say crab shack, I mean they fish for crabs. They're not serving cooked crabs there.
Yeah.
And Roger Dye's is a tiny little crab shack that is located right next to another one, and they have one spot available, one place where you back in amongst the crab pots, and you're right on the bay, just feet from the water. Well, it was a Sunday and they were not open, and we backed in there and sat down, and I made myself a cocktail. We were sitting there enjoying the sunset, and this boat comes along. And the people wave to us and they say, "Hey, how you doing?" And we wave back and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And the woman on the boat says,
"We're Roger Dye Seafood," and it was them.
It was them. And so they pulled the boat over and got off of the boat and introduced themselves. We hit it off immediately. And then Belinda began to give us this amazing tour. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Belinda.
Belinda! I just came off the boat, so I look like I've been wind-lit.
You look pretty fabulous.
No, you look and showed us how the soft shell crabs molt, and you know how you can tell when they're about to shed their shell, and it was really fascinating.
We're experts now. We could work there.
Yeah, we're experts now. We could work there if we wanted to.
We could work there.
But this was really exciting. And then after the tour, we went into the refrigeration room and sat down and started drinking. And we drank there probably for a couple hours with Roger and Belinda and just had a great time. But before they left for the night, Roger said, "You ever have any crab bites?" And we said, "No, what are crab bites?
What are
Never
crab
heard of
bites?
them before." And crab bites are just the body of the soft shell crab.
No legs.
No, so they might be crabs where the legs have gotten broken off, or they've lost one or two of their claws, and so then they just take that off and they just sell just the body of the crab. And we said, "No, we've never had crab bites before." And he said, "Oh, let me give you some crab bites just to try for tonight, and then we'll come back tomorrow, and if you want to buy anything, we'll deal with that tomorrow." So he gave us like a dozen crab bites, right?
Mm-hmm. They're small.
But you know what? I cooked those up in the wok right outside the van, right on the Chesapeake Bay, enjoying delicious cocktails. It was the most amazing food of the entire trip. Technically, they didn't make it, but they gave it to us and they sold it there. Oh my God, folks. That's one of the best things I've ever had. I don't need a whole crab, just crab bites. Zoom in on those, because they're fantastic.
The next day, we met them again, and not only did we buy crab bites, we bought soft shell crabs. What else did we buy?
Yeah, soft shell crabs and crab bites. I think that was it. We bought a couple dozen
We bought
of
a
each.
lot.
It kept us going for days. I think
for
we're
3
eating
days.
nothing but soft shell crab.
And we
for
still weren't tired of it.
3 or 4 days, something
We didn't
like
tire
that.
of it.
Roger and Belinda, thank you so much. This place is fabulous. You guys have to come here. It's freaking off the hook.
I can't say enough about Roger Dye Seafood.
They were so gracious.
Folks.
Belinda is really beautiful, and everyone loves Roger.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it. But we also enjoyed all of the other places that we stayed. That's the beauty of Harvest Host. Great experiences. It's not just the beer. It's not just the alcohol. It's not just the food. It's not just the entertainment. It's not just the people. It's all of it wrapped up into one, right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah. We'll see you down the road.
We'll see you on the road.